Welcome back once again, guys. In the last video I did a review for the Runcam Swift. If you haven't checked it out yet, then look in the description below. I'll leave a link to it so you can... This will help you get an idea of what the differences are between these two cameras. So hopefully by the end of this review, you will have a pretty good idea of which one would be better for you. So today we will be looking at the Runcam Swift 2. As always, I will show you some flight footage to give you an idea of how it performs. In this footage, you are going to see some flickering and flashing on the screen because I am flying my motor through an entire forest. I was actually doing two tests at once. This video footage will also be used for my Pagoda antenna review, which is coming up soon. As far as performance, honestly, I can't tell a difference between the Swift 2 and the original Swift. I mean, there could be a difference. There might not be a difference. I couldn't tell you. I think they're both the same. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They both perform very well. And just like I said in the last review for the original Runcam Swift, I am not saying that these are the best cameras out there. I'm saying that they are one of the best value for the dollar cameras. The performance you get for the amount of money you spend it's really good. That's what makes the Runcam Swift cameras some of my favorite cameras. You may have noticed that my on-screen display looks different from normal, and that's because another difference between the Swift 2 and the original is the Swift 2 actually has a built-in on-screen display and not just the OSD menu that you see on most other cameras. With this camera you can actually place your voltage, a call sign, which is basically your nickname or name, and also a timer. I don't have the call sign on the screen right now, but just know that it's there. I'll actually show you how to place it on your on-screen display. Much like with the original Swift, it does handle the lighting transitions well, as you saw as I was flying through the trees with the sun, coming in and out. A lot of cameras can't. That's the biggest thing for me with cameras. I keep mentioning the lighting transitions because that is the one thing that I have to have in a camera. Also need to mention that the footage you just saw was the Swift 2 with the 2.1mm lens, which is going to give you that wider look to it. They do offer different sizes of lenses, and I'll leave links to this camera as well as the other models in the description below so you can check out all the different ones. And they are IR blocked. When you purchase this, you get the protective lens cover inside the box. Well, just like with the original Swift and any other Runcam camera, I always mention that they have this little scratch off thing right here. Take this number, go to their website, punch that number in, and that will tell you if you purchased an authentic Runcam camera or if it's a clone. I actually bought this off of Amazon and it is legit, so there's that. Inside the box you will get the user manual, which tells you how to enter the OSD menu and things like that, which I'm going to show you in just a second. You get the same OSD cable that comes with all the other Runcam cameras, the 2-wire JST 1.25mm spacing connector. You also get the same type of mount that comes with the original Runcam Swift, but this time they actually included an Allen key. The original Swift didn't come with those, or at least not the ones that I've bought. And of course you get all the hardware that you need. Much like with the original Swift, you also get two different types of backing plates. You can use this if your multi-rotor frame uses the HS1177 style housing cameras. Well, I guess it really doesn't matter because you could use that too. But at least with this backing plate, you can have this mounted into your frame, and then this part you could use with this to, I don't know, brace it better or something. I don't use these type mounts, so I couldn't tell you. Another thing that's different between this and the original is they also give you this camera housing cover. This one actually has 3 bolts on the sides instead of just one. I'm assuming that's so you can adjust your height to wherever you want it. You also get this cable here, which is a 3-pin JST to 3-pin JST, and it also comes with a 5-pin JST harness, which is already on my multi-rotor. I've already used it. Yet another thing that's different is the original Runcam Swift was capable of accepting 5 to 17 volts, meaning you could use up to a 4S LiPo and power it directly off your PDB with no voltage regulators. This one can accept 5 to 36 volts, which If my math is right, that's like up to an 8S LiPo. Of course, no one's using an 8S LiPo, but it's there, I guess. So even if you are using a 6S setup, then you can power this camera directly off your PDB. Here we have the 5 to 36 volts, which is going to power the camera. Then you have ground, then video, then audio, which is another thing that the original Swift did not have. So if you do want audio, there's a built-in microphone right here, and it's going to pick up that sound, and you can wire it into your video transmitter and get audio. And then last we have VBAT. So if you wanted to, you could use a 5 or 12 volt voltage regulator or power it right off the PDB, maybe even put a LC filter in between somewhere and power the camera that way, and then your VBAT wire is going to go directly to your PDB or like a battery lead, something like that, anywhere where it's getting the full voltage of the battery. And then for these two JST connectors, this is for your OSD menu cable. You can just leave the camera plugged into your multi-rotor and everything, and just plug in this OSD or the OSD cable and make your setting changes that way. Which, if you watched my last video, I explained that I like this a lot more than the Foxeer style cameras because they use that other 4-pin OSD menu cable, and that thing is a pain. And there's one last thing in the box that I didn't show you yet, and it's this. Like I said in the original Swift review, I used to make these out of the JST 1.25mm spacing connectors, and I would have it plugged into this OSD port on the camera and just leave it plugged in. So anytime I need to make setting changes to my video picture, I could easily plug this in with this extension instead of having to fumble around and try to get this plugged into my camera through my multi-rotor frame or have to take the top plate off just to get to it. So now let me plug this back into my multi-rotor and I'll take you into the OSD menu and show you what you can do. Alright, I'm going to place the lens cover on just to help us see a little bit better. Take the OSD menu cable. If we press the button straight down, that will enter the menu. So let me just pick a bunch of random stuff. That was completely random. I'll leave it. Then much like on every other camera, you can adjust your exposure, white balance, backlight, stuff like that. And then you can click exit. Now to turn your voltage and timer and call sign on, you want to hold the button straight up. And that will give you this menu. At the very top it says Runcam. I accidentally did that and I didn't feel like fixing it. Normally it does say Runcam. I got Runcam and bro now. Great. So if we turn pilot on and we got the timer, voltage. I don't know what baseline is. It just puts a line across the screen. I really don't know what it's for. I haven't messed around with it long enough. And then if we click exit, now we have the voltage, timer, bro, and Runcam. Now if I hold the button to the right, see how the timer is now highlighted in black? You can actually move it around on your screen to anywhere you want. Press the middle button again to set it. If I hold it to the left, that is going to move my voltage anywhere I want. If I hold it down, then that will be either the call sign or I don't know, whatever it is. And that's pretty much it. For my final thoughts of the camera, overall I think it's great. Like I said before, it is not the Runcam Swift or Swift 2, they're not the best cameras out there. I'll say this a million times, but they are awesome for the amount of money that you spend. I really like that they gave you the option to have your voltage. I don't care for the timer or really the call sign necessarily, but voltage is a big thing for me because on most of my builds I use Betaflight's OSD feature or the minimum OSD micro, and I use real OSDs, and I like these OSDs because I can change my rates, my PIDs, expos, everything that I need to change, and that keeps me from having to bring a laptop or a tablet into the field with me. Now you can't do that with this camera, but this camera has been a savior for me because I've also been experimenting with the Raceflight 1 firmware on the Raceflight Revolt flight controller. And as of the time of me recording this, it's still in the beta testing, they're not done with it, and on-screen displays don't work with it. So naturally, as I'm using Raceflight, or with RF1 firmware, I want voltage. That's at least. So this camera really has helped me out with that, and I have been able to use Raceflight without over discharging my batteries. As far as which one do I like the best, I can't pick. I would say it's just whichever one applies best for your application. Like I said, on most of my builds, I use real on-screen displays, and I don't use over 4-cell batteries. So the 36 volts of input on this one doesn't really apply to me. The OSD doesn't apply to me for the most part. And the performance is, like I said, pretty much the same between the two cameras. So it really just comes down to what you want. Like I said, I'll leave links to this camera and some other stuff in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.